All right, next topic, we're talking about special right triangles. We're talking about 45, 45, 90 triangles and 30, 60, 90 triangles. All right, if I start off with a square and I draw in a diagonal, it's going to create two congruent isosceles right triangles. So that's all they've done here. They start off with a square, which means 90, 90, 90, and 90. They drew in a diagonal, which means I cut these two angles in two equal pieces. So these angles, that was 90 and that was 90. So now I cut it in two, so now I have a 45 angle there, 45-degree angle there. Remember, if these two angles are the same, then these two sides must also be the same. So I drew in the diagonal of a square and I created a 45, 45, 90 triangle. Now if I just do the Pythagorean theorem, so again, that's x, we'll call the diagonal y. Let's do the Pythagorean theorem. So I have a squared plus b squared equals c squared. So I have x squared plus x squared plus x squared equals y squared. So I have x squared plus x squared equals y squared. X squared plus x squared is just 2x squared, so I have 2x squared equals to y squared. That's the square root both sides. I come up here for more room. I just switch the order, so I put the y squared where the 2x squared was. So I brought this, put it up here, and I just switched the order. I put the y squared first and then the 2x squared. Square root of y squared is just y, and the square root of 2x squared, well, the square root of x squared is just x, so that comes out of the box, and the 2 stays in the box. So what this tells us is that y is just whatever the x is multiplied by the square root of 2. So whatever these x's are, the y is just equal to that number, whatever that x is, multiplied by the square root of 2. So if this x is 5, then this is 5 root 2. If this x is 10, then this y is 10 root 2. That's how that works. All right? So formula. And you don't have to memorize these. I'll give you a formula chart. You can use them on the test and anything we do in class. So if I have a 45, 45, 90 triangle, these two, we'll call them S. These must be the same because if these two angles are the same, these two sides must be the same. And whatever this side length is, the hypotenuse is just that side length multiplied by the square root of 2. So I've seen this done before. If this helps you, you can use it. If not, again, you can just use your formula chart. The 45-degree angle opposite from that angle, we're going to call that side S. So this 45-degree angle goes with side S. The other 45-degree angle also goes with side S. And the side opposite the 90-degree angle, that's the hypotenuse. That's just S times root 2. So how are we going to use that? We'll use that right here in this picture. Okay, so it gives us this picture. It tells us that's 45 degrees. Well, if that's 45 and that's 90, then that has to be 45. So I have a 45, 45, 90 triangle, which means these two sides must be the same. So again, I already know what x is. X must be equal to 6. If these two angles are the same, these sides must be equal to the same. So I already know what x is. Let me show you what I did. So I already knew what x was. X had to be equal to 6. Now to get the y, remember, so this s is 6, this s is 6, and to get the y, it's just equal to s times the square root of 2. Well, what is s? S is 6. So this 6 is my x, and this 6 root 2 is the y. Again, if you're a little confused, don't worry about it. I have a ton of examples to do in class. If you don't like using this and you just want to use the formula chart, which again, the formula chart will look like this, and you can use this on your test. It tells you, so there's my 45, 45, 90-degree triangle. These are the two side lengths, and it tells you again your hypotenuse is that side length times root 2. This is just one method to use. All right, it gives us this problem. B. It tells us, again, that's a right angle. If these two sides are the same, it means these two angles must be the same, so these must each be equal to 45 degrees. So I do have a 45, 45, 90 triangle. So I already know the hypotenuse, but if I'm filling in this table, I don't know what that S is. I don't know what that S is, but I know what the S root 2 is. That's the hypotenuse. So the S root 2 is equal to 14. So I set that equal to each other. I set let S root 2 be equal to 14. Well, now I just have to solve for s. Divide both sides by root 2, which I did. And so I have s equals 14 divided by root 2. But remember, I cannot have a radical on the bottom. So I multiply by root 2 over root 2, which gives me s equals 14 root 2 divided by 2. But 14 divided by 2 is just 7. So my side length is just 7 root 2. So my side length, my s, is 7 root 2. But if it's a 45, 45, 90, these two are equal to each other. So then x is the same as y, which is equal to 7 times the square root of 2. Alright. Another example, they give me another 45, 45, 90 triangle. They tell me that this one, I don't know why they wrote down the root instead of just using the symbol, but this is 5 root 14. And again, this is 45, 45, 90. The x and the y must be the same. So if I fill in my chart, again, I don't know what the s's are, but I do know what the s root 2 is. The s root 2 is equal to 5 root 14. So I set 5 root 14 equal to s root 2. I divide both sides by root 2, and I get that s is equal to 5 times the square root, oh, there it is, 5 times the square root of 7, because root 14 divided by root 2 is just root 7. So my answer, x is equal to y, which is equal to 5 times the square root of 7. Again, don't worry about trying to memorize formulas. You will have a sheet on the test. I'll give you one in class you can use for the homework and in-class work. It looks just like this. It tells you exactly what to do. If that's x and that's x, this is x root 2. 45, 45, 90 triangle. Okay, similar with a 30, 60, 90 triangle. Okay, now, if I start, instead of with a square, if I start with an equilateral triangle, and if it's equilateral, all my sides are the same, and all the angles are the same, and all the angles are going to be 60 degrees. But then, if I draw in an altitude, and I cut that in half, that angle up here that was 60, we just cut it in half, so now it's equal to 30 degrees. So I now have a 30, 60, 90 triangle. And remember, when it was an equilateral triangle, all the sides were the same. So if that was 2x, that was 2x. This was also 2x, but we just cut it in half, so half of 2x is x. So I now have a triangle where this is x, this is 2x, and I got to figure out what this length is, this y. But we can just do the Pythagorean theorem again, and I can do x squared plus y squared equals 2x squared. So x squared plus y squared equals 2x squared. You get x squared plus y squared equals 4x squared. Subtract x squared from both sides, and you get y squared is equal to 3x squared. Square root both sides, and you get y equals x times the square root of 3. So whatever the x is, whatever this x is, and this piece will be equal to that value of x times the square root of 3. So we have a similar picture over here. We have, in a 30, 60, 90 triangle, we have a short side, we have a long side, and then we have a hypotenuse. The short side is always the side opposite from the 30-degree angle. There's 30-degree angle, that's my short side, we'll call that s. Formula chart calls that x. The long side is the side opposite the 60-degree angle. So we'll take that same s that was the short side and multiply it by root 3. That must be equal to the long side. And the hypotenuse is just twice as big as the short side. So the short side was s, the hypotenuse must be 2 times s. Again, if you have questions, please don't shut down on me. We'll have a lot of examples in class. So there's how it's going to look on the formula chart. There's my 30, 60, 90 triangle. There's my short side, which is x, my long side, which is x root 3, and my hypotenuse, which is 2x. You will be able to use this in class and on any test that we do. All right, so I start here. Tells me there's my 60-degree angle. If that's 60 and that's 90, this must be 30. So then my short side, the side opposite the 30-degree angle, must be 7. So my short side is 7. I already know what it is. Then my long side, the side opposite the 60-degree angle, which is right here, which is x, is whatever I got for the short side, which was 7, multiplied by the square root of 3. So my x must be 7 times root 3. Now to get the hypotenuse, Again, we just take our s, our short side, and multiply it by 2. So if my short side was 7, 2 times 7 is 14, so that is my y. So my x is 7 root 3, and my y is equal to 14. Alright, what about this one? Again, I have a 30, 60, 90 triangle. This one I know my hypotenuse is 12 root 3. So if I fill in my thing over here, there's my short side, there's my long side, there's my hypotenuse. I know my hypotenuse is 12 root 3, but my hypotenuse must be equal to 2s. So if my hypotenuse is 12 root 3 and my hypotenuse is twice as big as my short side, just divide your hypotenuse by 2 to get your short side. So 12 root 3 divided by 2 is equal to 6 root 3. So 6 root 3 is my short side. To get my long side, I take my short side, multiply it by root 3. Root 3 times root 3 is root 9. Root 9 is 3. 6 times 3 is 18. So my x is 6 root 3, and my y is 18. That is my answer. Again, what I want you to come to class prepared with is sort of understand the formulas. Maybe you're not entirely sure how to use them. Maybe you're a little confused. But as long as we can distinguish between a 30, 60, 90 triangle and understand there's a rule for it, and a 45, 45, 90 triangle and understand sort of how that rule is, you'll be okay. I don't expect you guys to come to class knowing 100% how to do these. Okay, this one gives me this triangle. What side do I know? Well, the 30-degree angle is here, which means the x is my short side. 60-degree angle is there, which means the 9 is my long side, and the y is my hypotenuse. So I plug in my long side, s root 3. That's equal to 9. I've got to figure out the other pieces. So s root 3 must be equal to 9. Divide both sides by root 3, and I get 9 divided by root 3 is equal to s. Remember, I cannot have a radical on the bottom, so multiply both by root 3 over root 3, which gives me 9 root 3 over 3. 9 divided by 3 is 3, so my s is 3 root 3. So my s is 3 root 3. Now, to get the hypotenuse, remember you just multiply your short side by 2. Whatever your short side is, multiply it by 2 to get your hypotenuse. So 3 root 3 times 2 is just 6 root 3. So my answers, x is 3 root 3 and y is 6 root 3. Interesting looking picture, but it works the same way. This one, notice they give us a coordinate grid. They give us a circle with a radius of 1. And that hits at 0, 1, that hits at 1, 0. So the radius of my circle is 1. They then tell me I have an angle when I go from here all the way to there is 225 degrees. Well, what's the measure of that angle, that straight line? That's 180 degrees. So how much more did they go? If it's 180 from here to here, how much further did they go to get to that line if that's at 225? Well, what's 225 minus 180? That's 45 degrees. So this angle must be 45 degrees. And so if that's 45 and that's 90, that line that I made over here, that must also be 45 degrees. So now I have a 45, 45, 90 triangle. I know what my hypotenuse is because that's just the radius of the circle, and we already know that the radius of the circle is 1. So then s root 2 is equal to 1. Divide both sides by root 2. You get s is equal 1 over root 2. Multiply by root 2 over root 2, and you get s equals root 2 over 2. So that's how long this side is. That's how long this side is. So what is the coordinates of P? That was the question it asked us for. It's negative root 2 over 2 is x, and y is negative root 2 over 2 also. Again, please, 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 please. I understand some of this is confusing. We'll do plenty of examples in class. Just come prepared to learn. All right, so we're going to do it all over again on this one. This one starts here and goes 300 degrees that way. Well, this is the 270 mark right here, which means this little angle must be 30, which means this one must be 60. So I have a 60, 90, 30-degree triangle. And again, I know what the hypotenuse is. This must be equal to 1 because that's the radius of the circle. So I come over here and I let 2s be equal to 1. Well, if I divide this by 2, then my side length, my short side, must be equal to 1/2. And then to get the long length, you just take your short side, multiply it by √3 to get your long side. So this is my short side, this is my long side. The coordinates of the point are 1/2 and negative √3/2. Again, big issue. I'll give you this in class. You'll have a formula sheet with this picture and this picture.